So joining me now is my friend and colleague, Matt Brevner. Many of you know him as one of our Vancouver-based rebels. He's also a musician. We'll get into that in a little bit. But he's the documentary filmmaker behind Kamloops, The Buried Truth. And he is behind the camera, but you hear a little bit of him in the documentary too, working with our Rebel News reporter, Drea Humphrey, to uncover what happened in Kamloops at the residential school there so many years ago, but what's happening there now, because we're sort of in the dark with that as well. Matt, thanks so much for coming on the show. Tell us a little bit about the documentary. What was your vision for the documentary?
Sure. Well, I've produced other films in the past. This was a little bit different because initially it started out as just going up to do a report on the 1 year anniversary of the original press release announcing the findings of 215 bodies in a mass grave. Basically, a report that created unprecedented self-loathing in most Canadians. And it was just extremely inflammatory. I don't mean that as a pun. Over 70 churches were vandalized or burned or whatever. It was a complete mess. These people are just as much, I would say, victims as
Sure.
far as much as any other basic general Canadian is with this. There may have been maybe Sarah Boulier exaggerated what she found a little bit for her so she could puff her chest and get a little bit of social clout or whatever else. And I think that is a bit of the case. However, I do believe now, especially after going up there and talking to the people up there, that the average member of the Kamloops Shuswetmik band and the people up there, they don't know. They're just given, they have these experts, they're told what they found, and then they reiterated the information. But now it's like, oh wait, it's not maybe like that. And then you're stuck in a really tough position, I would imagine her as a chief of, what is it, less than 5,000 people. Now all of a sudden
Yep.
you're front page international news and you have a direct line with the Pope. It's like, whoa, that's intense.
Yeah.
It's like oopsie daisy, like what's happening here? And then you realize, oh wait, maybe the person that we hired to scan these lots isn't as credible as maybe we had hoped. It's like, I don't know, what do you do with that sort of information, right? So I'm not saying it was all right or handled correctly, but I can understand why things have kind of played out the way they have. And I do think that this was a little bit of a pulling the cart before the horse thing. And because people were so tense and pent up and stuck at home and afraid for their lives because of the pandemic, and people of color were being told that they were being basically brutalized on the street because of the George Floyd killings and all that stuff. So there's just this pent up powder keg of energy that was, underpinned by this anti-Christian, anti-Anglo, anti-colonial energy, and it just exploded.
Well, the remains of 215 children have been found in a mass grave in Canada.
Do you want to get closer to the truth about what was actually buried at Kamloops Indian Residential School last year? So do I. That's why the Rebels are doing a live screening in Calgary at Canyon Meadows Cinemas, and we want you to join us. We'll be there to watch this documentary with you, meet and greet you, and answer any questions that you have. I can't wait to see you. There's more info below.
But I do want the viewers and our followers to know that this isn't let's bash the Kamloops band thing. It's what do we know, which is actually very little, and what does that mean now? And I think that's important, that we view things through that skeptical lens, but also not be overly skeptical that it's not sensitive to the actual damage that has been done. And I'm not for any sense of the word or any stretch of the imagination going to defend residential schools. So as some sort of great idea, I look at them as just more terrible oppressive government policy, as there's always terrible government oppressive policy. And I think that maybe says less about the church than it does about the government, because they were just a popular institution at the time. If it was now, it would be just government boarding schools or atheist boarding schools, and it would be the same crap. So anyways.
Yep. Yeah, it is. It's that age-old adage that we should always resist the government or, frankly, anybody else telling you what's right for you and your own kids and your own family. Now, if people want to get tickets, to get information about the showings of the documentary, because we are doing in-person showings ahead of time before we sort of release it to the world, tell us where we can find that.
So Canyon Meadows Cinemas in Calgary on the 28th of this month. Dre and I will be there, and Sheila, you're going to be there too, right?
You better believe it.
Yep. Awesome. So yeah, it's because of the spicy nature of the documentary, there isn't a ton of public-facing advertisement. So unless you're hearing about it on Rebel News, you probably won't hear about it yet. But yeah, if you're in the Calgary area on the 28th, 7 p.m., come down. Come ask us questions, view it with us. We'd love to share it with you guys. And otherwise, you can watch it right now on Rebel News Plus.
Yep. At kamloopsdocumentary.com, people can get more information about that. Oh, hey, what you just saw there is a clip from my weekly full-length show, The Gunn Show. It airs on Wednesday, but this is the internet. You can watch it whenever you feel like. You just have to become a subscriber to our paywalled premium content. Just go to rebelnewsplus.com to become a member today.